be there at the slaughterer's place, and the hens will be taken out for slaughtering, and the hens will be waiting for their turn with no protest at all. So the slaughterer may come, open the cage and take away one hen and kills it and sells it. The other hens are waiting for their turn. And the condition of the Indians is almost like this. So we are in a hen coop waiting for our turn. And the poor people are actually the hens in a hen coop. And this is one major potent symbol employed in the novel, the white tiger. And white tiger itself is another symbol. And he was called a white tiger. White tiger is a special kind of tiger. And a rare tiger, a rare animal, not to be found too many in number. And in the zoos also there will be rarely one or two white tigers. And Balram Halwai finds a tiger in the zoo in Delhi only towards the end of the novel. And he becomes very happy to be called white tiger. And this is the reason why when he gets a chance to start a fame, he calls the fame white tiger drivers. And when he starts the driving fame in in Bangalore, not in Delhi, but in Bangalore, he reaches Bangalore. And when he begins the establishment, he calls the company White Tiger Drivers. And I told you, so he studied in the local school in Lakshman Gar, and the headmaster gave him the name Balram Halwai. And one day when the inspector came to the school, he became interested in the boy and called him White Tiger. And actually there are many such symbols introduced in the novel. For example, in Lakshman Gar, there are the rich people represented by 4 kinds of animals. So the rich people in the place are represented by 4 kinds of animals. There is the stork. Stork is a kind of bird that comes to the pond or water and takes away fishes, and it is called a stork. And then the next set of landlords are called, rich people are called wild boar. And then the other set of rich people are called exploitative rich people, they are called buffalo. And then there is the raven. And the rich people in Lakshman Gar are referred to by the names of animals, representing their cruel nature. So the wild boar, then the stork, then buffalo and raven. And when we get into the story, we come to find the animalistic qualities of these rich, exploitative people. I told you, Balram Halwai, born in Lakshman Gar, studied in the local Lakshman Gar school and excelled in his studies. And he actually wanted to complete his studies. He wanted to finish his studies, and his father also wanted him to complete the studies. He was sent to the school along with his brother Kishan. He was sent to the school along with his brother Kishan. And Kishan was not at all an excellent student, and he was a mediocre kind of boy. Kishan, the brother, the elder brother. And a little later he gets married also and lives the same life like the other rural people. And the father is named Vikram Halwai. Balram Halwai's father was named Vikram Halwai, and he was a tuberculosis patient and a rickshaw puller. And he got very limited income. And all the members stayed in a single house, and Kusum, the grandmother, was the one who led the family. And those who work in the house will give the money to her and she manages the things. And when Balram wanted to continue in the school, and he was a very good student, a brilliant student, but the grandmother didn't want him continue the studies there because she asked him to go and work in a tea shop in Dhanbad, another town from Lakshmangarh. So there are a few miles to reach Dhanbad. It's a town, a small rural town, and where there are many number of shops, markets and all. And the mother wanted him to go, the grandmother wanted him to go and work in a restaurant there, in fact to meet the expenses of the marriage of a relative in the family, to pay her dowry and to clear the debts. Balram was taken out from the school and sent to Dhanbad. And he reached there with his friend Dilip and started working in a tea shop there. And while working in the tea shop, Balram became interested in listening to the conversations of the people. And he actually wanted to learn the developments of the country. What actually taking place in the country. Normally there will be the people sitting in the tea shop drinking tea and discussing politics. And Balram became interested to hear the conversation of the people while working as a boy in a restaurant there. And he learned from the people that to become a chopper will be a good job, to become a driver. If one becomes a driver, it will be an easy job, as well as he can get good money. And Balram Halwai becomes interested in becoming a driver. And he approached his grandmother, asked her to permit him to go and study driving. And the grandmother was not interested in the beginning, but when Balram Halwai persisted to become a driver, she sent him with the condition that whatever he got from the job should be sent to the family, that he should have to give the salary he would receive as a driver. And Balram joined a driving school and excelled in studying driving and became a good driver. And at the end of the class, the driving school principal took him to a prostitute also. Virginity was also lost when the lessons were over. And after becoming a driver, he wanted to get a job, and he went around the big houses looking for a job and reached the house of the storks. I told you the storks. Storks are rich people. So they used it to take excess tax from the locals and the water under their control. And they are called storks. Whoever want to fish or to do some job in the river or water should have to pay a tax and profit to the storks. And Balram Halwai went to the house of the storks to get a job. And in the storks family, there is a young man named Ashok, who has recently come from America. And they are looking for a driver. And he is a married man, and he has got married to Pinky Madam. He was married to Pinky Madam. The stork's son Ashok was married to Pinky Madam. And the storks has another son named Mukesh Sir. And he is called always Mukesh Sir, S-I-R, Sir. And he is actually called the buffalo. I told you the rich people are referred to by various animalistic names. And in the stork family there is Mukesh Sir, elder brother to Ashok. And these people are actually dealing with the coal business there. And they extract coal from the government coal mines and sell the coal. And pacify the government officers and ministers by paying them bribe. And this is the business done by the storks. So they take the coal from the government mines and sell the coal and pay bribe to the officers and government officials. And they are always in good terms with the ruling party. In the novel there is also a description of the day of election also, and so during the elections the poor people sell their votes and they don't go to the polling station. They sell the votes to the landowners and the landowners will do the voting. And so the ruling party will be decided by the landowners. Even the poor people's role in democracy was very limited, and they used to sell their votes, and this is what we come to find in the novel. And it is the situation in Lakshman Gar. And after all, Ashok becomes employed in the house of the stork as the driver to Ashok. So Balram Halwai becomes employed as the driver to Ashok, the son of the storks. And Ashok has returned from America, and he has been assisting his father and meeting the officers and ministers, paying them bribes. Always they have money in their bags kept in the car to be given to the ministers. And bribing the ministers, they sell coal from the government mines and make lot of money out of the business. And after all, Balram Halwai becomes employed in the stork family as a driver. But he doesn't get the chance of driving the Honda City car. Ashok and Pinky Madam are found using the Honda City car. But he is not given the freedom to run the Honda City car because there is also another driver attached with the family. There is also another driver attached with the family. And he has been found driving the Honda City car, and Balram is asked to drive only the local Maruti Suzuki car. He is asked to drive the Maruti Suzuki car. And the Honda City is driven by a driver called Ram Prasad. Even though Balram Halwai and Ram Prasad lived in the same room, so Ram Prasad treated Halwai as a junior, as an inferior. Ram Prasad slept on the bed and Balram slept on the floor. And Ram Prasad drove the Honda City car, and Balram rode the Maruti Suzuki car for the other family members. And Balram was looking for an opportunity to become the important driver there, and it is at the time it is learned that Ashok and Pinky Madam are planning to settle in Delhi. And Ashok and Pinky Madam need a driver. And Balram actually wanted to become the driver to Ashok and Pinky Madam, but Ram Prasad was there. And it was at the time he identified that Ram Prasad was a Muslim. And during the month of Ramzan, Balram observed that Ram Prakash was not found eating during daytime. And he followed Ram Prasad and found that Ram Prasad was going to the mosque in the night and praying there and eating his food from there. Then he identified that Ram Prasad was a Muslim. And he intimated the stork family that Ram Prasad was a Muslim, and the storks actually didn't like the Muslims. So Ram Prasad was sent away from his service. And there was also a Nepali working in the house as a servant, and he also supported Ram Prasad. And he was named Ram Bahadur. Ram Bahadur was a cruel servant in the house who supported Ram Prasad. But when Ram Prasad was identified as a Muslim, he was sent away, and Balram became the driver to Ashok and Pinky and went to Delhi. And after all, reaching Delhi, he became the driver to Ashok, taking him to the various ministries and bringing him from bank to bank, and he used to take Pinky Madam also for dinner and ball dances, cabaret dances also. So the lady seemed to be a lady living in the American style, and Balram took the lady to the cabaret and the dance halls. And one night as they were returning, Pinky Madam wanted to drive the car, and while driving the car she hit a boy and killed the boy. And Balram was prepared to take up the responsibility of the killing of the child. And Pinky Madam considered him as a best person, and he was given special privileges also. And he became a favorite driver for Ashok and Pinky Madam. But actually the married life between Ashok and Pinky Madam was on the verge of destruction. Pinky Madam was not interested in continuing her life with Ashok, and she planned to return to America and called Balram Halwai to drive the car to the airport in the morning. And I told you that there is the chapter of the morning described. Yeah? And she went to America, and after all leaving India for America, she left 4,700 rupees to Balram Halwai. And she gave 4,700 rupees. So that remained with her as a balance. And she didn't actually want the money to be taken to America, and she left the money with Balram. And Balram was looking for an opportunity to become a rich man. And he had in his mind the plan of killing Ashok, murdering Ashok, and after all becoming a rich man, stealing the money from Ashok. And he had been waiting for an occasion to murder Ashok and to steal money and to escape from there and to do some business and to become a rich man. He was actually waiting for an opportunity. So he waited for an opportunity to kill Ashok. And when Pinky left Delhi, Ashok became so very bad in his attitude, started drinking too much and visiting prostitutes. And one day when he went to visit the officers in a ministry, one of the important officers offered him a Ukrainian prostitute with golden hair. And Balram found the Ukrainian prostitute, and he also felt interested in the Ukrainian lady. And he even thought why he could not also enjoy a golden haired prostitute. And it was at the time there was a man named Vijay, a political leader. He actually came from Lakshman Gar. And Balram Halwai knew him from the beginning. Actually, Vijay was the son of a pig farmer. And he later turned to become a bus driver, but bloomed into a politician and became one of the very important political leaders. And Vijay also came to Delhi. And one day Vijay and an officer came to meet Ashok. And while meeting Ashok, they drank Johnny Walker black whiskey. So they were found sitting and drinking Johnny Walker black whiskey, a costly liquor. And when they left the place, they left the bottle there. And Balram looked into the bottle and found that it was a strong bottle. And he broke the neck of the bottle and produced a kind of weapon a strong weapon. So a broken bottle was used by Balram as a strong piercing weapon and kept it in his car, looking for an opportunity to kill Ashok. And Ashok seemed to be friendly with Balram. Even took him to a hotel, a local hotel, and provided him food, and he ate food also with Balram. And even though he showed mercy, kindness, love and concern to Balram, Balram could not be convinced. Balram had in his mind the decision of killing Ashok and stealing the money and escaping from there and becoming a rich man. And after all, Balram wanted to see the Ukrainian prostitute once again, and he went to the hotel to have at least a look of the lady. And then he could not see her. And after all, when he returned to the other drivers, there was a vitiligo lips driver. Vitiligo lips is a skin disease. Vitiligo. Vitiligo lips it is called. The color of the lips and the color of some external part of the body will become changed. The color, skin change is what called, the color change in the skin is a kind of disease, and it is called vitiligo lips. And when he contacted a driver who is often called vitiligo lips, he provided a girl with golden hair, and actually the girl had duplicate golden hair, colored hair, and Balram enjoyed the girl also. He went behind the prostitutes also. The next day, Ashok wanted to take money from various banks in a red bag. And Balram took him to the various banks and he filled the bag with money. And when he went to get more money from the banks, Balram opened the bag and found that there was a good amount invested in the bag. There was good amount collected in the bag. And when Ashok came, Balram again started driving the car. And while driving the car, he said that the car has got some problem. Stopped the car. And he wanted Ashok also to come out and to see if there is any damage under the car. And Ashok looked under the car and bent his head. And it was the best occasion for Balram Halwai to beat him with the broken bottle. So he got given a smashing